Unit 9, F. Listening and Speaking. Activity 6.
I was terribly nervous before my first job interview, so it's not really surprising that I didn't get the job. It was all my fault. I was very late, and when I did finally arrive, I was hot and bothered and I looked a complete mess. Very unprofessional. Also, I had dropped my interview notes on the bus, so I couldn't remember the questions that I wanted to ask. My advice, of course, is to be prepared, and don't copy my example, because that will only end in disaster.
If you go online, you'll find pages and pages of advice about how to prepare for a job interview, and to be honest, you can waste loads of time trying to find the perfect strategy. But in my experience, the drawback is that they all really give you the same advice, which is simply relax and be yourself. Easier said than done, I think. However, no matter how well you've prepared yourself, if on the day you appear nervous and try to pretend to be someone else, you are definitely not going to do very well.
I'm quite old now, so I don't think I'll be attending any more job interviews. But during my life, I've been to a few, and in the latter part of my career, up until about 3 years ago, I was the one doing the interviewing. I must have done over 100. It was interesting being the one asking all the questions and watching the interviewee squirming in their seat when I asked a difficult question. Having said that, I think I was a good interviewer because I always remembered my own days in the hot seat.
I've only had one job interview so far, for a part-time job in a supermarket. Even though the job was only stacking the shelves at weekends, I spent hours preparing for the interview, going online, trying to find the best strategies for doing well. I even got my parents and friends to do practice interviews with me. In the end, the interview only lasted about 5 minutes, and I was actually very disappointed, even though I got the job.
I haven't had a face-to-face interview yet, but I did do an internet interview last year. It was for a part-time telesales job. Basically, the job was to phone people and try to sell them a different product each week, like makeup or some other cosmetics. The interview wasn't difficult. It was an internet call and there was no video, so I've never actually seen the people who employ me, which is a bit strange. But I got the job and it's okay for now, but not something I want to do for the rest of my life.
Since a very early age, I worked with my dad in his carpenter's workshop, along with one of my dad's brothers. When my dad and his brother retired, I took over running the place and stayed there until I myself retired 5 years ago now. So you may not actually believe this, but I've never had a job interview in my whole life. Does that make me very lucky, or have I missed out on something special? I can't say it's something I've ever worried about, actually.